I was asked an interesting question this morning, which is about what happens if you're in an unkind environment. It's quite, and particularly lower down in your career, and it's kind of, I suppose one answer that I gave was, just by being kind and modeling the behavior, you kind of you exert the influence that you're capable of exerting. You might have to accept that you're in an unkind environment and you've got a choice. You can either stay or leave, but you can do your bit. I'd be interested in any views you've got on that. When you're in just somewhere unkind, what can you do?
Yeah, I mean, the behind every person's action, behind every single person's action, I believe this to be true, um, is a positive intention. And by focusing on the positive intention, you take away your judgment of the
Mm.
person and takes you away from a horrible place of trying to put them somewhere. Because in behind everybody, there's something going on. There's something going on, and it's manifesting itself in their action in front of you. So, in an unkind environment, why is this person being unkind? And what is their positive intention? So, if you ask yourself that question in an unkind environment, what's your positive intention? Why? What is this person's positive intention? Well, maybe by being so rude, but because of being so rude, they're actually trying to get something across. Maybe because they don't know how to communicate, or but what is the intention? Well, they actually want to get this over the line. They want to do this. They want to do that, and and in having a courageous conversation with that person and asking permission to be courageous, to say, do you know, I'm just what you're asking me to do there. I said, I'm just trying to clarify. Well, don't worry, we'll get it done. But what is your reason for getting this done, or what is your positive intention? Just by focusing on that and trying to clarify it, you'll take away all the negativity of judging the person, because nobody wants to be on the receiving end of uh, uh, some bad communication. But in that sort of environment, it's then asking the why. What is their why? And behind that, what's the positive intention? What's their why? And then, of course, you've got to lead from the front, and everybody can lead from the front. It may well be that you get sacked by somebody who, but that doesn't matter. You shouldn't be
Yeah.
there anyway, So,
Mm.
and I know that's a bit trite if somebody's actually got to pay their mortgage, but I think that no one should be handcuffed to unkindness,
Mm.
so whatsoever. But behind every action is a positive intention. I find that to be pretty useful in trying to analyze, and then you actually get to understand people rather than judging them. And if
Mm.
you can understand them and what the intention is, and actually you can change their behavior really quite quickly,
Mm.
whatever that positive intention you
There's
gauge in
there's a
that.
build I put on that, which is maybe they didn't intend to be unkind. This is sometimes they just might have been in a rush, or just acted sort of hastily, or kind of didn't think through something through, but they didn't actively intend to be unkind. And it's very easy to leap to, for example, I gave the example this morning, which is I forgot to send an email to somebody and she had to reply back to me. And I felt terrible about that. She might have thought I was being unkind and ignoring her. It's just, I forgot, it's got a lot going on. But I think we're often very quick to judge, when actually just a little bit of holding back. And I think I love your question about, if you hold back and go, hang on, what were they trying to achieve here? Or maybe they just went about it, in a way that wasn't optimal. That's fine. I'll live with that. There's often a lot less unkindness around than I think we think there is, to be honest.
Yeah, because everyone's going through stuff. We don't really know what people are going through.
Yeah.
So not everybody is as robust as everybody else,
Mm.
but for sure everybody's going through stuff, and it's extraordinary when you get to the bottom of it, when you ask the questions, and you see what the positive intention is. Just sit back for a second and take the emotional aspects out of it, because we know what happens if we're getting emotional. So
Mm.
your cortex is shutting down your ability to think. So it's just the primitive part of your brain is now working. So great, fight or flight, fantastic. Not not the way you want to be thinking if you're going into something to communicate. So and of course, in a fight or flight scenario and being highly emotive, you are also highly suggestible.
Mm.
So it's really not a place to be. So I think if you take the emotion out of it and hover above the maze, and if you look back down at that maze and look at that person and see what is their positive intention, what were they trying to achieve? They probably were actually really just trying to get this job done really, really quickly.
Mm.
and they probably don't know how to communicate that well, but they're
Mm.
very good at numbers and they're very good at running a business, but
Mm.
they probably can't communicate. Okay, so let's find out that. And if you go and engage with that person, say, look, looking at, I mean, obviously you must have quite a bit on. Can I actually take some stuff away from you? Is there anything I can take away from you to actually make things a bit easier for you? Oh my
Mm.
God, that would be so good. You're the first person who's actually asked, because no,
Mm.
you know, so, but it's, I think it's just trying to connect to over the top of that maze, their maze, a very emotional maze where the emotive, the primitive part of your brain is
Mm.
working. So,
Mm.
and I suppose that's a good way to think of it, is when that happens, it is the primitive part of your brain that's working.
Yeah.
It's when someone is being unkind and being highly emotive. So just re-engage back onto, I always think if you ask somebody 3 times the right question, they eventually they'll get it. So
Yes.
so why are we doing that again? Oh, you just don't understand. I probably don't. Yeah, I'm not that bright. But why are we doing that? Yeah. You keep repeating that. I do, yeah, because I'm not that bright. But I was kind of hoping we could get the answer to it. So why do you do that? Well, because of this. Cool. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Let's move on then.
I love that.